Hello students, I am Professor NAVNEET from Sagar Institute of Research and Technology, EC Department. Today I'll be discussing about the subject digital communication. In this lecture, I'll be discussing about the basic digital communication system, types of signals, and the Fourier transform of periodic signals. Now first, we will discuss about the scheme of the subject digital communication, and the subject code is EC-502. In this subject, we will have theory exam of 70 marks and 20 marks will be of mid-sem exam. The quiz or assignment will consist of 10 marks. In practical work, we will have NSEM consisting of 30 marks and lab work and sessional will comprise 20 marks. So total, we will have 150 marks for this subject. Now discussing about the syllabus of the subject. Now in the unit 1, we will study about the sampling theorem and the sampling techniques used for converting any continuous time signal into discrete time signal. Now in unit 2, we'll be discussing about the techniques used for analog to digital communication, like pulse code modulation, delta modulation. Also, we will study about encoding techniques. Now in unit 3, we will study about digital modulation techniques. And in unit 4, we will study about the probability of error calculation for the different digital modulation techniques. And unit 5 will discuss about the concept of the information theory. Now first, we will look at the course objectives of the subject digital communication. Now, the first objective is to understand the key modules of digital communication systems with emphasis on digital modulation techniques. Now, after studying about the digital modulation techniques, we should know how to compute the power and bandwidth requirements of modern communication systems, including these digital techniques like ASK, PSK, FSK, and QAM modulation formats. Now, last, we should also get introduced to the concept and basics of information theory and the basics of source and channel coding and decoding. Now, coming next is the course outcomes of the subject. This subject, it consists of 4 course outcomes with different Bloom taxonomy levels. The first course outcome is to demonstrate pulse modulation system and different sampling techniques. Also implement different pulse modulated signals using MATLAB. This course outcome, it covers Bloom taxonomy level 3, which it is based on applying level. Course outcome 2 is to demonstrate analog to digital conversion methods and describe line coding methods, which will cover level 2. Course outcome 3 is to develop and analyze digital modulation techniques and implement these digital modulation techniques using MATLAB. This will consist of Bloom taxonomy level 4. Course outcome 4 is to explain optimum filter and determine bit error probability of different digital communication systems, which will cover Bloom taxonomy 3. And course outcome 5 is to explain error correcting codes and apply knowledge of information theory to solve the related problems, which will consist of Bloom taxonomy level 3. So here we have seen that our syllabus, it mostly covers 3 levels. Level 2, which is to understand, level 3, which is to apply, and level 4, which is the analysis. Now first, looking into the details of the subject, we will first see the communication system applications. There are different applications of the communication systems which are listed here. The first is it is used in line telephony, then radio broadcasting, point-to-point communication, then mobile communication, computer communication. It is also used in television broadcasting, radar communication, optical communication, and satellite communication. As we already know that today the communication system is almost digitized. So most of the techniques which are used in the communication are based on digital communication system, like mobile communication, radar communication, optical communication, and satellite communication. All these techniques are based on the concept of digital communication system. So this subject is very important to understand the concept of these basic communication systems. Now, we'll see the core companies of electronics and communication engineering. I have listed the basic core companies of communication engineering, like Qualcomm, which covers wireless communication, VLSI, ISRO, Broadcom, which is basically a core communication company, Vodafone, Micromax, Samsung, Aircel, Dell India, Nokia, Motorola, Videocon, Reliance, Wipro, and Tata Teleservices. Now, looking into the syllabus of the subject, first we will go into the description of analog and digital signals. Now, in this slide, we can see the 4 different types of signals. The first signal, as we have written, it is analog and continuous time. Now, this signal is continuous time because it is defined at every instant of time. And it is analog signal because it can have any value on the y-axis, which is the amplitude axis. Now, the second signal is digital as well as continuous time signal. It is continuous time signal because it is continuous in nature. It is defined at each and every instant of the time. But it is digital because on amplitude level, it can take only 2 levels, positive and negative level. Now, the third signal is analog and discrete time. It is discrete time because it is defined at fixed instants of time. It is not continuous in nature. And it is analog because on amplitude axis, the value of the signal is not fixed. It can take any value on the amplitude axis, which is y-axis. And the third signal is digital and discrete time signal. It is discrete time signal because it is defined at fixed instance of time. And it is digital in nature because the signal takes only 2 values on the amplitude axis, either positive or negative. Now, first we will see how to find the Fourier transform of a periodic signal. Now, consider any periodic signal ft for which we want to find out the Fourier transform. Now, consider this signal is having a time period capital T. Now, since the signal is a periodic signal, we can express it in terms of complex Fourier series, which is given by summation Fn e raised to power jn omega naught t, where n goes from -infinity to +infinity. Here, omega naught is angular frequency, which is 2 pi by capital T, where T is the fundamental period of the signal. Fn is the Fourier series coefficient. Now, taking the Fourier transform on both the sides, we will get Fourier transform of ft and Fourier transform of the expression which is written on the right hand side. Now, using the linearity property of the Fourier transform, the constant term can be taken out of the transform. So, Fn is having a constant value because it is dependent on only n. We can write as Fn and Fourier transform of 1 dot ejn omega naught t. Now, we know that the Fourier transform of 1 is 2 pi delta omega. Now, here we can see that 1 is getting multiplied by e raised to power jn omega naught t. Using frequency shifting theorem, if we multiply any signal with an exponential, then in frequency domain, the Fourier transform is shifted by the frequency omega naught. Here, since 1 is having Fourier transform 2 pi delta omega, now we are multiplying 1 with e raised to power jn omega naught t. The Fourier transform will become 2 pi delta omega minus n omega naught. Now, substituting the Fourier transform of 1 into e to the power jn omega naught t in this expression, we will get 2 pi summation fn delta omega minus n omega naught. So this is the Fourier transform of any periodic signal ft. Here we can see the Fourier transform of a periodic function consists of train of equally spaced impulses. Now we will understand this concept with the help of an example. Here we will find the Fourier transform of signal consisting of sequence of equidistant impulses, which is represented by delta with subscript t and dependent on time parameter. Here subscript t is used because this train of impulses is periodic with period capital T. Now this train of impulses can be represented as delta t plus delta t minus t plus delta t minus 2t plus delta t plus t plus delta t plus 2t and so on. Now using the formula for Fourier transform, which is 2 pi fn delta omega minus n omega naught, we will first find out the Fourier series coefficient fn. Fn is given by the formula 1 upon t integration over one period signal into e to the power minus e to the power minus gn omega naught t dt. Since the period of this train of impulses is t, we will write from minus t by 2 to plus t by 2. And in signal, we will write delta t because in this period, we will get only one impulse, which is located at t is equal to 0. Now, using sampling property of the unit impulse function, if any unit impulse function is multiplied by any other time-dependent signal, then the other signal is computed at the value of time t where this impulse is located. So since this impulse is located at t is equal to 0, we will find the value of this exponential at t is equal to 0. So this will give 1. Now we are left with only integration of delta t dt, which represents the area under the unit impulse function. We already know that the area under the unit impulse function is unity. So we will have fn is equal to 1 by t. Now substituting this value of fn in the formula, we will get 2 pi summation 1 upon t delta omega minus n omega naught. Now we already know 2 pi by capital T is given as omega naught, which is the angular frequency. So omega naught summation delta omega minus n omega naught. So here we can see that the Fourier transform of train of impulses is again an impulses which is located at a distance of omega naught. So we will see that the Fourier transform of train of impulses is always a train of impulses. These train of impulses is known as Dirac-Combe function. So here we can see that the Fourier transform of Dirac-Combe function is always a Dirac-Combe function. So here we can see in this waveform also. In time domain, we can see the signal consists of train of impulses. So here in frequency domain also, the signal consists of train of impulses where the frequency gap between two consecutive impulses is omega naught. Now this is all for today's lecture. Thank you.